Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. Alright guys, my name is Liaquat Zaman. If you guys are not familiar with my YouTube channel, please check out Roots of Knowledge, check out the videos that I make, and check out this series more than anything. And let's get on with it then. So we are covering the chapters of Hajj. This book is basically, if you guys are not familiar, is a Hanafi fiqh manual to explain to you guys how you're supposed to practice Islam. So this is to do with the chapter of Hajj, and I've covered previous chapters before this, and I also do other topics and subjects like Quran, learning Arabic. If you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, check out also my website uruk.com. I've got a lot of courses on there as well. Okay, so la yaqtul. So first of all, let's do the word for word explanation. Let's do it in blue. Blue is the normal color that we use. So qatala yaqtulu, it means to kill. Sayd means hunted animal that's hunted. Yushiru means to point, right? Yadullu means to indicate, yes, indication, signify. La yalbas, labisa yalbasu, it means to wear. Qamis, shirt, stitched shirt. Sirwal, it means, or sarawil, it means stitched trousers. And imama means headgear, turban. And qalansuwa is hat. And qaba is a sort of coat. Khuffain, leather socks. We've done this before, leather socks. Illa an yajid na'layn. Na'layn means slippers. Slippers. Qata'a yaqta'u, it means to cut. Asfala, it means below. Ka'bayn means the lace of the foot. Lace of foot. So here Ka'bayn does not mean ankles, okay. So in Hajj, when they say Ka'bayn, they talk about the lace of the foot. Ghatta yughatti, it means the to cover. Ghatta yughatti. Ra's is head, wajh is face, massa yamussu is to touch. Tiban is perfume. Halaqa yahliqu, it means to shave. And sha'r is hair. Badan is body, usually the torso. Qassa yaqussu, it means to also trim. Lihya is beard. Dhufar is nails, so whether it's toenails, fingernails. Within that, labis yalbasu. Thawban is clothing. Masbugh means dyed, to dye something. Wars is a type of plant, a sort of like yellow plant, yellow dye. I'm not sure in English what you call wars. If you guys know what wars is in English, put it in the comments below. Za'fran is saffron. Saffron. Asfar. Asfar is sap flower. It's a type of cheap alternative to saffron. Ghasil means washed. Nafadha yanfudhu, it means to give off or to release. Yeah, to give off, to spray. Sibgh, dye. Done that. Masbugh. La ba's, nothing's wrong. Yaghtasilu, to take a bath. Yadkhulu, enter. Hammam is a bathroom. Yastadhil, to seek shade. Mahmal is some sort of like a carried, a carried tent. I don't know what you call it in English. Carried tent is basically, I'll show you guys an example of it. It's put on top of a camel. Wa yashuddu shadda yashuddu, it means to tie. Wasat, in the middle. Al-himyan is like a type of belt, strap. Yaghsil ra'sahu is head. Lihya is beard. Khitmi, again this is some sort of we talked about this in Janaza. This is some sort of a herb they used to use for cleaning purposes. Talbiyah, we've done that. Aqib, you guys should know what that means. Salawat, you guys should know that. Sharafan, it means a hill, high platform. Habat is to descend. Okay, ala means to elevation. And wadiyan is valley. And laqiya, to meet. Rukban is travelers. And bil ashar, it means pre-dawn. Pre-dawn. Yeah, just before Fajr. You call it ashar, from the word sahar, sehri. And we did this in fasting. Right, let's now look at the next one now. Okay, so لا يقتل صيدا. So let's have a go at this. لا يقتل صيدا. So this is a فعل, فاعل, مفعول به. Okay, صيدا. ولا يشير. يشير is فعل فاعل. يدل is فعل فاعل. يلبس فعل فاعل. قميصا is the مفعول به. سراويل. Anyone know why this is single fatha? Yeah, if you know, put in the comments. ولا إمامة ولا قلنسوة والعطف ولا قباء ولا خفين إلا أن لا يجد النعلين إلا أن لا يجد نعلين. So خفين إلا أن لا يجده, right, because of nasab. نعلين فيقطعهما أسفل الكعبين. مضاف مضاف إليه. ولا يغطي. غطى يغطي رأسه. فعل فاعل مفعول به. ولا وجهه عطف أنت رأسه. ولا يمس طيبا فعل فاعل مفعول به. ولا يحلق رأسه. ولا شعر بدنه. ولا يقص من لحيته. ولا من ظفره والمجار مجرور. لا يلبس ثوبا مصبوغا موصوف صفة بورس ولا بزعفران ولا بعصفر إلا أن يكون غسيلا. So إلا أن يكون غسيلا, unless it is غسيل, washed. ولا ينفض. نفض ينفض الصبغة في الفاء. ولا بأس, this is الاسم of لا نفي الجنس. أن يغتسل ويدخل الحمام مفعول به. ويستظل بالبيت والمحمل. ويشد في وسطه الحميان مفعول به. ولا يغسل رأسه ولا لحيته بالختمي. ويكثر من التلبية عقيب الصلوات كلما علا شرفا وهبط واديا فعل فاعل مفعول به. أو لقي ركبانا وبالأسحار. So these are quite straightforward, nothing really complex there. If you have any sort of question in the comments, you can ask and then I'll try to elaborate it there. Okay, so let's have a look at what is this text basically saying. What's the meaning of this text? So these are the prohibitions when you're in the state of ihram. So when you're in ihram state, what are the things that you are not allowed to do? So number one, you cannot kill. So if you watch the crash course, then I explained it over there in simple terms. You can't kill an animal by hunting. You can kill an animal by slaughtering, like a goat, a normal animal that's normally slaughtered. So you can't kill an animal. You can't do ishara, and you can't do dalala. 3 things. So kill, point, or indicate. So for example, like let's say I'm going to kill an animal. There's an animal there. I've got my gun ready and I shoot the animal. No, I'm not allowed to do that. And if I was to do that, the animal turns out to be haram for anyone to eat. And likewise, I can't tell someone else and point at an animal and say, there's an animal, kill it. So I can't direct someone, indicate. And la yadullu, I can't indicate, meaning I can't say to someone, behind the tree over there, there's an animal, go and get it. So those 3 things I cannot do. If I do, then I'm not allowed to eat that animal. So لا يقتل, so he says لا يقتل صيدا ولا يشير إليه ولا يدل عليه. These are three things you cannot do when it comes to this ruling. Okay, next. What other rules are there? So number 2 is to do with clothing. Yeah, so to do with clothing, you can't wear, so you can't wear, number 1, you can't wear a qamis, shirt. Basically, you can't wear anything stitched on your body. You can't wear trousers. You can't wear turban, imama. You can't wear qalansuwa, any sort of hat on your head. You can't wear any form of like a coat, stitched coat. You can't wear any leather socks because they're stitched. Yeah, socks because they're stitched. Now, the only scenario when you can wear leather socks, he says, like there is a scenario where you can actually wear leather socks. What is that? It's basically if you can't find any slippers, what you can do is you can take the leather socks. So imagine this is a leather sock. And remember we said the prohibited area for a man is that he can't have his top of his foot covered. So basically, this area over here, he can't cover that. He has to leave that open. So then what is he going to do with his leather socks? Because that's leather socks are normally covering it, aren't they? So what he has to do is basically he has to cut. Oh, it's not a nice color. Right, so he has to cut the sock there, yeah, to remove that part. Yeah, so once he removes that part, that is basically what he's gonna do. Now he can wear that sock now. Yeah, I just got rid of that anyway. So now basically he's gonna end up with like this semi kind of sock. Yeah, with that kind of like a car. So he's got this part open now. Once he's got this part open, then it's fine. Yeah, so his foot inside, that's exposed, that's fine now. So this is what he can do. Yeah, so let's have a look at this then. So he says, وَلَا يَلْبَسْ, he's not allowed to wear qamis and a shirt, وَلَا سَرَاوِيل, no trousers, وَلَا إِمَامَةً, nor can he wear a turban, وَلَا قَلَنْسُوَةً, nor can he wear a hat on his head, وَلَا قَبَاءً, and no kind of overcoat, وَلَا خُفَيْن, and no خُفَيْن, إِلَّا أَنْ لَا يَجِدَ نَعْلَيْن, and unless he can't find any slippers, because when you wear slippers, obviously your top of your foot's going to be exposed. This is not for a woman, by the way. A woman can cover her feet. فَيَقْطَعْهُمَا أَسْفَلَ كَالْكَعْبَيْن. So he cuts them below the ka'bayn. And I told you what the ka'bayn is. Yeah, I pointed out to you guys, the ka'bayn is referring to this part of the foot. That's the ka'bayn. Okay, next. What else can't he do? Alright, so number 7 to do with, right, so now to do with body, right? Body sort of like, right, oh, so number 6 rather. Let's do number 6. Number 7, he's not allowed, وَلَا يُغَطِّي رَأْسَهُ, he can't cover his head. Yeah, so he can't wear any form of head covering, even if it's just a piece of towel on his head, a cloth. Can't do that. No. Yeah, so, and nor can he cover his face as well. So he can't put anything on his face. So let's say he's going to sleep. He's got to keep his feet out of the bed. He's got to keep his head out of the bed. Right, so he can't cover his head, can't cover his face. Yes, if he wants to dry his face with a towel, that's fine. But literally he can't keep it covered. Yeah, he can't do that. So, لا يغطي. So he says, لا يغطي رأسه ولا وجهه. Okay, next. He's not allowed to also use any form of perfume. Right, so he can't adorn himself. Perfume, so this all falls under adornment, right, to make himself look nice. So this is for both men and women. So he's not allowed to use perfume, nor is he allowed to do any removal of anything from his body. And what is removal of anything of his body? Let's have a look at that. So first of all, what does he mean by perfume? So basically, you can't put perfume onto your hands or face or head, or any part of the body. If a person was to put too much perfume on, then depending on how much perfume that person has put on, that's the consequence. That's basically what he has to sort of like compensate. And that's going to come later on. So the more you perfume, the more you have compensation you have to give. And the less you have to give. So you're not allowed to, put any teeb on. In Arabic, the word teeb means perfume. La yamassu teeban. He can't touch perfume, meaning he can't put it on. It's the way Arabs say, basically, that's how you put perfume on, you touch perfume, basically. Okay. Wala yahliq. So removal, you can't remove any hair on the head. Yeah. Hair, whether it's on the head or whether it's on the body anywhere. So let's say, for example, like someone wants to remove hair that's private area under the armpits, or let's say a woman wants to remove hair from her legs or from her arms or anything like that. You cannot do it in the state of ihram. Yeah. And likewise, the beard as well. So if, men have a beard, and even if women have facial hair growing, they're not allowed to remove it in these days. Number 2 is nails. You cannot remove nails. Nails you cannot cut, basically. Yeah, so cutting of the nails, whether it's the fingernails, toenails, you can't cut them. Now, if you do cut them, you have to give a compensation, depending on how many you cut. The more you cut, the greater the compensation. Okay, so let's have a look at this then. So it says, وَلَا يَحْلِقْ رَأْسَهُ وَلَا شَعْرْ بَدَنِهِ. He cannot shave his head, nor the hair on his body. وَلَا يَقُصْ. Nor is he allowed to trim his beard, and that includes mustache. وَلَا مِنْ ظُفْرِهِ. Nor from his nails. Okay, some of the things that he also, that falls under perfume or adornment, is wearing clothes that have been dyed clothes, right? So dyed clothes basically means it's talking about a dye in them days that would give off the dye. So if you touch the clothes, that dye would actually go onto your clothes, onto your skin. So not like the printed clothes of today, where it's printed with a different color. It's talking about in them days, they used to dye the clothes. When you used to put it on, traces of that dye would remain on your skin. Yeah, imagine it like that. Now, I don't know in today's days how, this kind of stuff works, but that's basically what he's talking about over there. So he can't also wear any dyed clothing. Now remember, it's not just dyed. It has to be dyed that remains on your skin, the traces remain on your skin. So the common sort of like things that they used to use in them days, لا يلبس, is not permitted to wear ثوبا مسبوغا بورس, زعفران, and asfar. These are 3 things. Wars, za'fran, asfar. Right, so wars, I don't know the names in English, but it's basically like this kind of like, it gives a yellowish kind of color. If you put it onto your clothing, it makes it a bit yellow. And if you touch it, it kind of like rubs off onto your skin. Saffron as well, stains, and asfar as well, safflower. Yeah, all of these things. So what do you do if you've got like your ihram? You're a man, you got your ihram, and you've put that on there, a few weeks ago. Yeah, you put some dye on there. Or let's say it's a woman and she's got clothing and it's got dye on there. What do they do? So what they have to do basically is إِلَّا أَن يَكُونَ غَسِيلًا, unless dye was put on there before, let's say for example in last week on Monday, and today, this Monday, you actually wash it. Then it's fine. Yeah. So long as la yanfudhu sibgh, so long as it doesn't release the dye. So that's why I'm saying wearing colored clothing for women is fine. They can wear colored clothing. But what they can't wear is clothing that has this sort of like dye on there that will transfer onto the skin. Okay, now here a question comes. Let's say there's a person, for example, and this person, can't cover their head, right? For a man, I can't cover his head, but he wants to enter into some sort of a building, and that building has a roof. So if he enters into this building, will this entering of the building mean his head is covered? So he says, no, that doesn't fall under that. Right? So, la ba'sa, there is nothing wrong, an yaghtasila, that a person takes a bath. Okay, so taking a bath is also allowed. So let's write this down. So taking a bath is fine. Yeah. Entering a bath, a hammam, public bath, that's also fine as well. Meaning it's going to be obviously covered from the top. Yeah. So entering a hammam, so a public bath, and taking shade under some sort of a canopy of some sort. And also that camel tent, we call it camel tent. You're allowed to enter a camel tent. Yeah, find out what it means, guys, in English. وَيَدْخُلُ الْحَمَّامِ, he's allowed to enter the hammam, public bath. يَسْتَظِلُّ, he can seek shade with a house. وَالْمَحْمِلِ, and he can also seek shade in the tent. Okay. And another thing that he's allowed to do is he's allowed to tie around himself a himyan. So let's say he's got clothing on. He can tie a belt. Yeah, this is known as the himyan. Himyan, this is. It's a belt. So if you've ever been Hajj and Umrah, you've seen people with money belts. That's allowed, guys. So that would not fall under the prohibition of wearing stitched clothes. Okay. So yashuddu, he can tie fi wasatihi al-himyan, in the middle of his clothing, a belt. That's fine. Okay. Some extra things that he's not allowed to do that kind of fall under adornment is he can't like use any sort of like fragrant, like nowadays, cosmetics, right? So you can't use perfumes, you can't use shampoos, you can't use soaps that have a fragrance in there. Yeah, so la yaghsilu, he's not allowed to wash his hair wala lihiyatu his beard bil khitmi. So khitmi is like this kind of leaves that give off this kind of like odor. The idea is basically, why is all of this for? The idea is you've come to the house of Allah and you've come with the intention of fixing yourself and you know, begging from Allah. So if you want to rectify yourself and beg from Allah, you're going to come in a really disheveled state. You're going to show Allah, just like a beggar who wants money from someone. You know, you see them, you feel sorry for them, right? Their state. So this is how you come to Allah. Pure state. Like, you're not adding any embellishment or anything to show yourself. You're just coming as you are naturally and really kind of in a dire state. That's the idea. So that's why all this washing and cleaning is something which goes against the state. Anyway, the things that you should do in these days finally is yukthir min at-talbiyah. We talked about talbiyah last lesson. He should increase in saying talbiyah throughout the journey. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata lak wal mulk la sharika lak. Yeah, aqib as-salawat, after all the salats, number 1. Yeah. Number 2, kullama ala sharafan, every time he climbs a hill. So if you're going on a journey, you're going up a hill, you're going upstairs, you're going up any sort of elevation. Wa habata wadiyan, number 3, when you're going descending downstairs or you're coming down a hill. And number 4, laqiya rukbanan, whenever you meet a group of people. So whenever you meet, because in Hajj there's going to be people traveling and moving and newcomers coming, arrivals, and so every time you meet arrivals, you know, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, you want there to be this buzz going around. And bil ashar, at sehri time, suhoor time, pre-dawn. So get up at pre-dawn, pray tahajjud. And Allahumma labbaik, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata lak mulk wal mulk la sharika lak. And that's it. That is basically what he's talking about over here. So the idea is, remember I mentioned it in the crash course, in the ihram, you're not allowed to kill an animal, point at an animal, indicate towards an animal, unless the animal you're killing is a slaughtering animal, like a cow or a goat, something like that. You can't wear any stitched clothes because that's kind of like sort of luxury. You can't show luxury when you're going there. So wearing a shirt or trousers or turban or hat or coat, socks, unless you're going to cut those socks, you're going to have that, you know, that top part of the foot, the lace part of the foot exposed. And covering of the head. Yeah. Cover the head. You can't cover your head. You can't cover your face. This is for men. And perfume as well. Adornment. You can't put any form of adornment on. And removal of any hair of your body. Or even wear clothing that is going to transfer some sort of like dye onto your skin. You can't do any of that. And as for sort of entering a property where your head will become covered, as long as nothing is touching your head, alright, then it's fine. And that's it basically. Right, so, okay, so let's have a look at some questions now. Right, so here are some questions. What does it mean a person in ihram can't hunt? So, it means that a person who is in ihram is not allowed to kill a hunting animal, nor is he allowed to point at it to make someone kill it, or he can't even tell them where it is for them to kill it. Number 2, can a muhrim wear socks if he has no footwear? No, he's not allowed to, unless he cuts the top part where the lace of the foot is exposed. What is the ruling for wearing dyed clothing? So the ruling is you can wear it as long as for the women, it's obviously allowed. Men should wear white. But if a person was to wear it, as long as the dye does not transfer into the skin, then it's okay. But if it does, then it's not allowed. Like wars, za'fran, and asfar. Is entering a roof structure considered covering the head? No, it's not. That's allowed. What is a mahmil? A mahmil is the sort of like tent, canopy thing that they put on top of a camel for women to sit in. What is it? When is it recommended to say the talbiyah? So it's recommended to say the talbiyah after every salat. When you go up elevated place, you come down, descending. When you meet people, and at time of ashar, 5 times. And that's it. So I hope, guys, you enjoyed this. Jazakumullah khair for watching this. Thank you to my patrons for all the support you guys have shown. Check out my new videos I've made as well. I've recently put some new videos up on how to understand Arabic vocab. And if you guys want videos to help you guys to be able to benefit in balagha and usul and other things, I have those on my uruk.com channel. And if you guys want to become patrons and you guys like the work that I do and you want to support me, please check out my the link and check out my Patreon. And you can even send it through PayPal as well. Jazakumullah khair, guys. I hope you guys enjoy your week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.